What if everything you knew about the life of Jesus was wrong? Imagine a book, hidden for centuries, revealing a story that completely upends everything we've been taught. A manuscript so powerful it could shake the very foundations of Christianity, and yet it has remained buried in secrecy, kept from the world. The Church has fought to suppress its truths, and many believe its contents are so dangerous that revealing them could change the course of history forever. You may have seen videos like this before, but they get no views. Even YouTube doesn't want you to know about it. Imagine this knowledge slipping away, hidden by platforms that decide what we're allowed to discover. This isn't a fictional tale. This is a shocking discovery from Turkey that challenges the story of Jesus as we know it. This lost gospel, known as the Gospel of Barnabas, has been quietly waiting in the shadows for centuries. But what does it say? What is it hiding? And why has it been locked away from the world? Let's uncover the terrifying secret about Jesus, one that could rewrite history. In the early 2000s, a group of treasure hunters stumbled upon a relic unlike anything else in the world. Hidden away in the heart of Turkey, they found a manuscript believed to be over 2,000 years old. But this wasn't just any ancient text. What they discovered was a Bible that tells a drastically different version of the life and teachings of Jesus Christ, one that has remained hidden from the public eye. The manuscript, now referred to as the Gospel of Barnabas, reveals a series of shocking truths that run completely counter to everything we've been taught about Jesus. Some say the Church has deliberately concealed its existence, fearing that its teachings could undermine the very core of Christian belief. If this gospel were ever fully acknowledged, it could lead to a complete redefinition of Jesus' legacy. The remarkable tale of this ancient gospel begins not in the hands of historians, but in the clandestine world of treasure hunters and smugglers. As word spread of a hidden manuscript, a group of opportunistic smugglers, seeking fortune and fame, covertly acquired it and planned to sell this relic to the highest bidder outside Turkey. But this was no ordinary relic. It was a manuscript of staggering potential, an ancient Bible crafted in the sacred languages of Jesus himself, Syriac and Aramaic. It bore markings and details hinting at a narrative so distinct from the Christian texts we know that its mere existence could have sparked theological shockwaves across the world. Under the cover of night, these smugglers tried to make their escape, yet their plans were foiled. Local authorities, tipped off about the illicit operation, intercepted the group, seizing not just an ancient manuscript, but what many now regard as a treasure of forbidden knowledge, a document so precious and so controversial that it would soon become a sensation, fueling whispers of a hidden history. It was the Gospel of Barnabas, a text purported to contain accounts and teachings that diverged radically from the established Christian canon. Once in the hands of scholars, the manuscript captivated historians, theologians, and linguists alike. Specialists meticulously examined every fragile page, hoping to unravel the secrets concealed within. But as word spread, opinions diverged. Some skeptics brushed it off, suspecting it might be a medieval forgery or an elaborate fabrication crafted centuries after the life of Jesus. To them, this text was a fascinating, if sensational, footnote in religious history. Yet, a growing number of scholars argued otherwise. They saw in these pages an authenticity and antiquity that could not be ignored, convinced that this gospel offered a perspective on Jesus' life that had been concealed or lost for nearly 2 millennia. These proponents believed that the Gospel of Barnabas might contain an untold account of Jesus' journey, his teachings, and his legacy, one that departed from the familiar narratives of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. The manuscript's potential to disrupt long-held beliefs and reshape our understanding of early Christianity ignited passionate debate. Was this a long-suppressed version of events? Could it truly represent a voice from the earliest Christian communities, reflecting beliefs that existed before the formalization of church doctrine? If so, the Gospel of Barnabas would not only question the accepted history of Jesus' life, but also challenge the authority of the Christian texts that have shaped millions of lives for centuries. In the hands of experts, this gospel raised questions that struck at the core of Christian doctrine itself. It was no longer just an artifact. It was a symbol of the secrets and mysteries that may lie hidden within ancient texts, waiting to be rediscovered and examined under the unforgiving lens of history. By the way, if you've ever wondered how to attract substantial wealth effortlessly, starting today, don't miss out. This is going viral in the spiritual community. I gave it a try myself after hearing about it from a rogue NASA scientist, and the results have been mind-blowing. I've even shared some of my success on Pinterest. You'll find the link in the comments below. Don't wait too long, though. You'll want to see these wealth secrets for yourself. Now let's return to our journey into the mysteries of history. The Gospel of Barnabas was named after Barnabas, a prominent figure in early Christianity. Barnabas was a close associate of the apostles, spreading the teachings of Jesus throughout the ancient world, from Antioch to Cyprus. His name appears in the Acts of the Apostles and in some letters of St. Paul. Barnabas was also instrumental in the early Christian community and was regarded with deep respect by the first Christians. However, this gospel doesn't portray Jesus the way the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John do. Instead, it offers a radically different perspective, one that contradicts several core elements of Christian doctrine. At the heart of the Gospel of Barnabas is a shocking claim. It suggests that Jesus was not crucified. In this version of the story, Judas Iscariot, the disciple who betrayed Jesus, is the one who is crucified, not Jesus himself. The Gospel describes how Jesus was miraculously saved by archangels who whisked him away, leaving Judas to face the cross in Jesus' place. In this telling, Judas's appearance was even altered by God to resemble Jesus, further deepening the mystery of the event. For centuries, the crucifixion has been the cornerstone of Christian belief. It symbolizes the sacrifice that Jesus made for humanity's sins, followed by his resurrection, which is fundamental to the doctrine of salvation and redemption. But the Gospel of Barnabas flips this story on its head, raising questions that Christianity has struggled to answer for nearly 2,000 years. Not only does the Gospel of Barnabas contradict the crucifixion, but it also challenges the very nature of Jesus' identity. According to this ancient text, Jesus is portrayed not as the Son of God, but as a prophet, just like the great figures of other Abrahamic religions. This directly clashes with the Christian doctrine of the Holy Trinity, which holds that God exists as the Father, the Son, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit. If Jesus were merely a prophet, as the Gospel of Barnabas suggests, then the entire foundation of Christian belief, one that has been built upon the idea of Jesus as divine, would crumble. The text also openly criticizes the Apostle Paul, accusing him of distorting the true message of Jesus. This is especially significant because Paul's writings form a large part of the New Testament, and his influence on Christian theology is undeniable. The Church has always controlled which texts were included in the Bible. The four canonical Gospels, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, have been preserved through the centuries as the definitive accounts of Jesus' life and teachings. Any text that challenges these narratives has often been labeled as apocryphal or false, deemed unfit for inclusion in the sacred scriptures. The Gospel of Barnabas, with its starkly different portrayal of Jesus, was never accepted by the early church. Its rejection was part of a broader effort to maintain a unified Christian doctrine. By excluding texts like Barnabas, the church ensured that only certain versions of Jesus' story reached the masses, creating a coherent narrative that could be universally accepted. Interestingly, the Gospel of Barnabas does not just challenge Christian doctrine. It aligns more closely with Islamic views of Jesus. In Islam, Jesus is regarded as a prophet, not the Son of God, and the Gospel mentions Muhammad by name, further connecting it to Islamic teachings. In fact, the Gospel even includes a prophecy from Jesus about the coming of Muhammad as the next great messenger of God. For Muslims, the Gospel of Barnabas is seen as a valuable text that acknowledges the importance of Jesus while remaining consistent with Islamic theology. This alignment with Islam makes the Gospel of Barnabas an even more contentious text for the Christian world. By suggesting that Jesus was a prophet and not divine, the Gospel poses a direct challenge to Christianity's claim to religious supremacy. Throughout history, the Christian Church has wielded immense power over which religious texts are considered authentic and worthy of inclusion in the Bible. The Gospel of Barnabas is just one of many texts to be suppressed or excluded. Known as apocryphal writings, these excluded Gospels often present perspectives that diverge significantly from the canonical Gospels of Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. They offer alternative views of Jesus, views that range from his teachings to his very identity, and thus were labeled heretical by church authorities. In the early centuries of Christianity, church leaders convened in powerful councils, such as those at Nicaea and Carthage, to determine the official doctrine and establish which texts would become part of the Bible. These councils were not only about spiritual truth, but also about consolidating power and unifying believers under a single controlled narrative. In this process, countless texts were discarded, suppressed, or even destroyed, leaving behind a carefully curated version of Christian history. Some of these lost writings, like the Gospels of Mary Magdalene, Thomas, and Judas, contain messages that diverge so radically from the accepted doctrine that they were condemned as blasphemy. For centuries, church authorities went to extraordinary lengths to ensure that these alternative accounts of Jesus' life would remain buried. Many were burned, some hidden in monasteries, and others disappeared into private collections, only to resurface long after their original creators had vanished. The Gospel of Barnabas, for example, with its revolutionary portrayal of Jesus as a prophet rather than the Son of God, directly challenged the fundamental beliefs upon which the church was built. It threatened not only religious teachings, but also the power structure the church had carefully cultivated. When the Gospel of Barnabas resurfaced in Turkey in the early 2000s, it reignited interest in these suppressed texts. Scholars and historians were drawn to its bold claims and mysterious origins, debating fiercely over its authenticity. Some argue that the manuscript is a medieval creation, influenced by Islamic perspectives on Jesus, and thus dismiss it as a later fabrication. Others, however, believe it could be an authentic account from the early centuries of Christianity, a long-lost text that offers an unfiltered view of Jesus' teachings as seen by some of his earliest followers. For those who accept the possibility of its ancient origins, the Gospel of Barnabas could offer a tantalizing glimpse into a hidden chapter of Christian history, one where Jesus' life and message were understood in ways radically different from the story we know today. Despite its reemergence in the early 2000s, the Gospel of Barnabas has remained largely out of reach for scholars. The Turkish government, which owns the manuscript, has refused to release it for outside study, keeping its contents sealed away from public scrutiny. This reluctance to share the Gospel only fuels its mystique, turning it into a symbol of forbidden knowledge. In a world where information flows freely, the idea of forbidden knowledge stirs something deep within us. It taps into our desire to uncover hidden truths, to question what we've been told, and to seek out the mysteries that history may have tried to hide. If the Gospel of Barnabas were to be authenticated, it could lead to a massive debate within both religious and academic communities. For Christians, it would force a re-examination of their beliefs about Jesus. For Muslims, it could strengthen their view of Jesus as a prophet. And for historians, it would open up a whole new realm of study about early Christianity, its texts, and its evolution over the centuries. But what is the truth? Was the Gospel of Barnabas intentionally suppressed to maintain the church's authority? Or is it simply a historical artifact that reflects the beliefs of an ancient community? The answers may lie buried within its pages. The Gospel of Barnabas is more than a relic. It's a challenge to everything we thought we knew about faith, history, and the life of Jesus. As long as texts like these remain hidden, there will always be questions that demand we look beyond what's familiar to seek the truth that's been waiting, buried in the pages of time. For every answer we uncover, a dozen more mysteries surface, reminding us that history is not a closed book, but an evolving story, filled with layers and hidden chapters. We stand at the edge of that unknown, knowing that one ancient manuscript has the power to reshape not only our understanding of Jesus, but the foundations of beliefs held for centuries. And as we continue to unravel these hidden stories and long-lost texts, we realize the journey is far from over. The true story of Jesus may be more profound, complex, and mystifying than we ever imagined. Will we ever fully uncover the truth? Only time, and perhaps courage, will tell. If this revelation intrigued you, don't miss out on what's coming next. Join our channel membership for early access to groundbreaking content like this. Subscribe if you haven't, and turn on notifications to stay ahead on our journey to uncover hidden knowledge. And let us know in the comments below if these mysteries resonate with you. Your thoughts might just spark the next great discussion in our quest for the truth.